want no more come back? And I was like,
No.
you already told me that I
I
would get
didn't
sick
even-
and die, or not die, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't even want to do it.
And you told me I only had 2 kids.
Because I'm going to start doing sound healings there at the stage
At
shack.
the stage.
So I'm doing
Nice.
Reiki and like sound bowls and
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
Yeah.
Does she have a soundproof room for it? Hi, Becca.
The reason I'm doing it there is because she has the table. She has the Reiki table.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, she does the stellar wave.
And Steph. Hi, Stephanie.
She's good people though, right? Like I feel like she's really.
I feel like she is. I don't know how she met him. I know he's not from here.
I love this. Like a sun.
Yeah.
Like the rays of the sun, how you set up the room. I love you all. I wish you all could come here and see this. So beautiful. So this is Wednesday. Wednesday is the day ruled by Mercury. Mercury is the planet that rules perception. Wednesday, more than any other day, we should be very aware of how we communicate. But how do we communicate our perception? And are we thoughtful that not everyone's perception is ours? And if we bring our awareness into our heart instead of our head, it starts to right our perception, and it starts to harmonize the perception, because then you'll start to see what you're actually perceiving is being perceived by others as well. But if you're operating from ego, you have more of a chance, more of a likelihood that your perception is not anywhere near what anyone else is perceiving. Because ego will always want to take you into the cell memory of trauma. And so we are right now dealing with a retrograde, and that's working through our core wounds, okay? So this is from now until December, the energy, and so this is very new. So if very new, like I'm talking within the last week, your energy has been really shaken up and amplified what is not working in your reality, or maybe old wounds are coming back to re-traumatize you, or situations that feel old but that are new, which are that same pattern, and you're like, oh my gosh, your spidey sense is like electric with that energy. It's because of that. And so these are actually gifts. So we could say, oh wow, I am not doing this again. Because now I am coming from a higher place of consciousness, and I can see this shit really clear right now. And maybe I didn't see it before, but I see it now, and I'm gonna communicate differently. And so maybe fix it before the train starts going too fast and then wrecks, right? Maybe we can actually slow it, or switch tracks, right? So this is the energy of what we're moving through. And most especially divine masculine. And I wish all of y'all could see, oh, Douglas, Hercules. I love when men show up. So I wish you guys could see. I only have one woman in here, Amanda, and I did this. So the reason why is because I have really been communicating the feminine energy with the masculine. Because what has gotten so skewed outside in society and reality is that there is a power play. There's almost a competitiveness and deep current of rage, first of all, in women. And I don't know if you've been feeling this, like this upsurge of angry ass women. So even women who claim that they're conscious, they're enraged, saying, we don't need no damn man. Literally, I made a post that said, the grandest compliment you can give a man is that you feel safe with him. And it is. And that even means your masculine energy, because we all carry masculine and feminine energy within us. So the greatest compliment you can give your masculine energy is, I feel safe. I feel safe in my body. I feel safe to be me. I don't have to edit in any company, any environment. I feel safe. That is you complimenting your masculine energy, because it's your masculine energy that does the speaking, that does the thinking, that does the acting. that does the nurturing, that does the giving. So he doesn't give in a willy-nilly way. He's not on the fence about it, or over-giving, which is toxic, or judgmental, which is toxic. This feels safe because, you know what? If I need to, I'm going to create boundaries. If someone says you're wrong, your intuition is off, right? Then instead of that triggering you, your masculine will say, no, actually my discernment is keen as fuck. Thank you very much. That is your masculine coming to the defense of your feminine intuition, and that is you feeling safe in your body. That has nothing to be angry about. But it triggered the fuck out of a lot of women, that post. And then I made a post for women that said the grandest compliment you can give a woman is your unwavering presence consistently. I will tell you how little women even liked it, and no one commented on it. And you were the one that shared it, right? Wasn't it you that shared it? I said, you're like the only woman that did this, thank you. Because all the other women were like, fuck you. But anyway, so it's all good. Everybody's angry right now. So what is happening? Because these are the core wounds, right? The core wound that's happening. So Chiron is the planet that holds our core wound, right? And Chiron is in Aries. So to understand the wound, you have to understand the story. Okay, so the story of Aries, who the fuck is Aries, first of all, right? And why is Chiron in Aries' house? Aries was this father that had these beautiful twins, Eris and Eros, female and male. But Aries favored his son. He loved his son because he was male. Males are strong. Males can get shit done. So he was just like, this female, yeah, that's my daughter too, but this is my son. Made a constellation for him in the sky. He was so important. Made him the god of love. And so it created a lot of sibling rivalry between Eris and her brother. But it was really the wound that, so that's the perception, right? She took it out on her brother, even though it was her father's fault all along. It was Aries. Aries was a dickhead dad. But she took it out on her brother. He's being treated better than me. Fuck him. Right? And so it created this grading energy between her and her twin brother, where there was this rivalry, this competition, this anger, this deep rage and jealousy. And so the back and forth of the fighting, Eros, to punish his sister, cursed males. And the curse is that males would be a slave to their desires and constantly searching for the fairest one, and would not be able to look upon true goddess and actually see her. So when you are faced with a real woman who has depth and power and strength and intelligence and beauty, and yet so feminine, and it's masculine energy, happy shiny thing that men are always in search of, right? And that's the fool's gold, honestly, because she's usually broken. She has no depth, and it's all glitz and glitter, right? But that's purposely done. We're meant to heal this wound. And so what does it cause women against women so competitive? They will hate on a big titty, big ass woman quicker than anything. She comes in here with her lashes and booty, and they're like, oh my God. Right? And it reduces the goddess. She reduces herself because she is hurt. And this woman is not even competition, but the male energy, that's what he sees. He sees that beautiful thing, does not even see the goddess. So it's painful, it hurts. And then males become so on the fence about their desires. I'm fickle. Maybe this isn't gonna work, so maybe I should search here, or maybe I just need a Big Mac. And it's the constant drive of desires. And so it takes even greater level of consciousness for him to contain his desires. Didn't you ever wonder why it's so much easier for a woman than a man? This is the core wound that has to be healed. And he's angry too. He's been hurt. He was hurt by his sister. That's why he did it in the first place, but he doomed all humanity because of this curse. And who are their parents, God damn it? This father, this machismo father, and then the mother, Aphrodite. The goddess of love birthed the god of love, and poor Eris, sweet, strong goddess Eris. And she received an asteroid in the sky, not a full constellation. And so we have to restore that reverence to the feminine. This is why people ignore their own intuition, their gifts. That's the feminine. This is why we're so scared to slip into that deep, deep, deep receiving. And when someone gives you a compliment, you right away return it. You are so smart. Oh, thanks. You too. It's so hard to receive. You are so handsome. You are beautiful. And then we're like, oh, I'm gonna vomit. How gross. But that's our wounded feminine. She can't even receive. Right? And then that intuition, our psychic gifts, though, that's all that deep feminine energy, our emotions, our heart-centeredness. Don't you ever wonder why so many people are not in their fucking hearts? It's painful. I just don't want to feel. I'd rather think. Let me just think. It's easier. I just want to be here, okay? Please. But if we really cracked our hearts open, imagine the sublime harmony of humanity. Because remember what I said in the beginning, if we got in our hearts, it would start to harmonize perception, because people would be seeing and experiencing what you are. Because our hearts are what connect us. When our hearts start opening, it's what actually allows us to see everyone as ourself. So even the hooker on the corner or the transient in the park becomes us. It's not someone outside of us, it's us. They're all facets of us on some level. Just like all of this beautiful masculine energy in the room, I did this because I said, it is safe. I'm gonna be in my deepest feminine guiding you, and it's safe. Because I literally had a man in my house for a private session last week, and all of you have been in my house actually. But the couch is like the L shape, right? For those of you who have not been in my space. And he literally started to turn and started talking into the couch. And I could not believe what I was witnessing, and all I was doing was holding space for him. He's telling me this very traumatic story, and I was just holding space. But the power of the feminine in a feminine body is like a vacuum, and it commands reverence and attention. And it's almost painful for masculine to look at when especially he's being vulnerable. So when someone is holding space for you unwaveringly, instead of trying to give you advice, which is very masculine and also toxic masculine, let me fix you, let me be your hero, let me tell you how we're gonna work this. No, shut the fuck up for a minute and get in your feminine and just hold space for me and listen. And it cracks people open. So he's going like this, starts talking into the couch, and I said, stop right there. I went back into my masculine so that he could stop losing his shit for a minute. And I said, look at me. Do not look away. And I told him what happened. And he had an epiphany. And he said, so I want to understand this. And he just wanted me to tell him all the things about that energy that's moving through his own body. And and why he behaves the way he does with his wife. Why, when he gets subservient, he's not really softening her. Because she's grossed the fuck out. She's constantly in her masculine, but she's in her masculine because she doesn't feel safe. So why does our masculine have to come to defend our feminine? Because our feminine is scared. And she's saying, you go ahead and you do it. You do it. You take over and you do it. That's why you have a bunch of angry ass women in their masculine energy. If you really want to know what that looks like, to completely understand what that means, a woman in a feminine body, in her complete masculine energy, look at any feminist group. They are not even being women. They are a bunch of beautiful feminine bodies with masculine energy. They are pissed. And they don't like me either, because I am very feminine. And I tell them, you're really not a feminist. You're angry that you chose a woman's body this life. That's what you really are. You are so angry that you are in a woman's body. I love being a woman. I'm not gonna shave my armpits. I like my pussy. No, you are a man in a woman's body, because this is healing balm. And any woman who can embody her feminine knows this is power. This is feminine power. The witnessing, the stillness. I opened my heart and every one of you made eye contact with me. That makes me want to cry. That's what I'm talking about. That's the real power. And those bitches don't get it. But all of you are going to go out and tell the world, I know that you're hurt. It's okay. Look at me. So, let's meditate. Does anyone have questions about that? I feel like I just gave a sermon.
But
Holy
no.
shit.
No, not at all. It's like, it feels so good to hear, because I feel like I know those things and I've rejected them. Because I was just telling my husband, ever since I was a little girl, I knew there was a lot of women that did not like me. I could feel it. And I didn't know why, and it made me so sad. And it made me stop being so loving. Like, I used to be a little girl that used to run around and just love everybody. But there was these women that when I was around them, I could feel how much they didn't like themselves, but I thought it was me. And it wasn't them.
Because you house the depth of goddess. And you can see it in the smallest of little girls.
Yeah.
Like, who's got it and who's damaged.
Yeah.
You can see it. I hope you all heard that, because that was pearls. Any questions here? Thank you for the hearts, Steph. I love you too. So what I want to do, because Spirit gave me this meditation before to do at my own altar, and I call it the Divine Diamond, and I've done variations of it in here, but it really does charge that feminine energy, but joins it with the masculine. And I would love to do this. So lay down for it, get as comfortable as you can get. I actually have a tantric music playing. I mean, all of this is like a tantric soundtrack. So if y'all start feeling saucy, it's okay. Any questions though? Because I had someone leave to go to the bathroom, so we have a minute if anyone wants to comment or question. Anybody in here? Did I drain you? I'm sorry. Oh, do do it, please.
No, I won't, I'm sure.
No, I love that. That's a gift. Thank you. Because you are safe in your body. So, what happens, because I want you to witness him, what the most balanced energies do now, because he's in his feminine, I completely want to go into my masculine and nurture him. Masculine energy is what nurtures, okay? So when someone's in their feminine, it is like a vacuum. It pulls to you, especially when they are being vulnerable. So I am actually going to go in my masculine and comfort him. And this.
That's what I was about to do.
So, I don't know if, because you're all sensitive in here, if you could feel the shift in him, he went back into his masculine. So all of those women who have talked to me and had sessions with me, and they said, I want my man to be able to express emotion, but when he does it, I'm grossed out. It's because your masculine is being called forward to nurture him. Now, if a woman is always in her masculine nurturing her partner, that is wrong. You're doing it wrong. Women are only supposed to nurture what comes out of their vagina or what they are raising. But when a male trusts you to be vulnerable and goes into his feminine and opens up, it is the most loving thing you could do to go into your masculine and hold him in that. And you will see very quickly the return of his masculine energy so that you can soften again. And it will actually create polarity in an intimate relationship where then you can ravish each other and you won't be grossed out, feeling that he's emasculated. But if you look at him and with disdain at all, that loses polarity in intimacy, and trust is deeply damaged. This is why partners fuck around, because the women in their masculine, constantly nurturing, being bossy, being controlling, and the males constantly cracking themselves open to bring their woman out of her masculine, trying to really like break her out of her control and masculine. And then it loses polarity and trust in a relationship. And that's deeply damaging. This is the core wound of the collective. I mean, you can see it in every environment, even work environments, that disharmony, that out of balance masculine, feminine energy. And if we all get in our hearts, it happens seamlessly because we all get to heal. It was so easy for me to get into my masculine, to hold him. How did that feel for you? Was it uncomfortable? Because you're very balanced. But see, now you're like uber masculine again. You're like, I needed that. And that's good. And he's back. How was it for being witnessed? Did you start to see those parts in yourself?
the first part is learn how to balance the love energy in your heart.
How to balance that love, the feminine energy.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's what people don't understand, is that it's already balanced. If you feel before you speak or feel before you act, this will always be a true compass. So if someone is being very disrespectful, this will show you the discernment. That's not okay. And then when you speak from that place, stop right there. Like I did with him, how he completely looked away and rejected that. So instead of me going into my trauma, because I'm here holding space for him as a healer, and in that deep feminine, he couldn't take it. So I reprimanded him, because it's the feminine energy that reprimands, it's not the masculine. If the masculine ever reprimands, it's negotiable and it's toxic. So if you're thinking before you speak or thinking before you act, that is toxic male energy. So even in an intimate relationship, the male energy should never, ever reprimand the feminine. Ever. It should be the other way around. So when someone slips out of consciousness, then it's going into the heart saying, stay with me. Get out of your head. That wasn't okay. Don't talk to me that way. That's loving. That's still loving. Loving isn't all rainbows and unicorns. That's spiritual bypassing. That's the la 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 la, I'm not listening to anything unless I'm shooting rainbows out my ass. That's spiritual bypassing. But when you truly embody spirit and have the human experience through that spirit, that heart-centeredness, it's not always pretty, but it's always right. And it's never negotiable. Because this is a true compass. So when he started crying, how did that make you feel as a male?
Oh, what?
How did that make you feel as a man? How did that make you feel? Did it make you uncomfortable? Because most men are raised that emotions are weakness. So when a man cries in front of another man, because you don't want to get out of that energy of like that tough exterior, which is toxic male, and instead go to the healthy divine male, the heart-centered male energy, saying, I can hold space for him and be nurturing. And it doesn't mean that I want to have sex with him, that I can actually hold space for him as a divine male and say, it's okay. Does that make sense? Because I know you said you wanted to comfort him.
Almost immediately. I just didn't know if I'd be comfortable with that, so I didn't.
And so that too.
And then I felt like dumb because I was like, well, maybe that was spirit telling me to do it, and I just like missed my opportunity to obey spirit.
Okay, so hold no shame, because that's toxic male saying, you missed it. Dummy, missed it. That's toxic male. Stop it.
But after
Divine male would say, wow, your intuition was right, girl.
my intuition checked.
Because that's your feminine that had the intuition, but then your divine masculine is like, I want to act on this. You see the balance, how they were actually working cohesively.
Yes. I actually had an experience not too long ago with someone who refused to cry. He was like, I'm not going to cry. I don't cry, even though he was going through a very emotional thing. Someone was cheating on him, and he found out about it, and he was just like, I'm pissed, I'm angry, I'm mad. That very masculine, but almost actually toxic. And he was like, I'm not going to cry. I promised my whole world that I wasn't going to cry in front of people. And so I was just like, but let me hold space for you, and you can cry in front of me because I'm not going to judge you. I'm going to be here for you. He was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Even though he was crying, he was like quickly wiping tears away. And so I was just like, give me your hands. And I held his hands. And almost immediately I started crying because I felt all that energy. And once he started crying, I was able to release that femininity and go into masculine. and really just say like, I'm here. And that's really just all it said. He broke down. Really.
And I think that's what Javi's afraid of. That, because you're like, how do I stay in the heart, right? So you were actually processing. That's really not healthy either. That's the overgiver toxic male saying, I'm going to be really worthy and lovable right now. I'm going to cry for you. But instead say, I can feel how sad you are right now. Report the weather around it. Because then it's win-win. Your divine feminine intuition gets the validation that, yeah, he's about to cry. And then he's like, you see me. Wow. Because that's really all anybody wants, is to be seen, to be witnessed. Even though it's uncomfortable as fuck, I know. It's uncomfortable, but you did the right thing. Like, you stood your ground with that, and that's beautiful. I love that. And if more people could get in their hearts and do that. But if you keep processing for people, it'll make you ill.
I'm actually sick right now.
Huh?
I said I'm kind of sick right now. So
Right, and so that's how really good psychics end up terminal. I'm not kidding about that. So you really have to protect
But I
yourself.
thought you also have like the ability to release for other people in a sense.
Okay, so sometimes I'll process through my body. It never stays. It moves through me because I'm a conduit. But that takes practice. A lot of people don't understand how to do that.
So if you process it and release for them, you're actually holding that within.
Yeah, because you're processing their pain. And it doesn't relieve them. When you process someone else's
Yourself to protect yourself from
shielding and doing the reporting the weather, I can feel how deeply sad you are. Like how I felt you, and I said, I'm going to come comfort you. Because I was witnessing you. And you were like folding in on yourself, and I was like, he doesn't even want to be witnessed right now. And so I went over and held you in that. But I felt the shift in you. You got it out, you processed the emotion, you processed it. That's how we're able to come back to ourselves, right? So you came back to that stable energy. Okay, I'm good now. If we would give ourselves permission like that all the time, we wouldn't be a mess. You see how fast emotions move? Emotions are fucking lightning. They do not stay in the body. The only reason why we're like sad for a week is because we don't fucking move it. You've got to move it, move it. You have to. Give yourself that permission. Let the masculine come in and let you feel safe enough. That's feeling safe in the body. Holding space for yourself and then being able to do it in any environment. That's safe. And that's the greatest compliment you can give your masculine. Outside your body and inside your body. It is no coincidence that I have men in here tonight and beautiful Amanda to witness it. I did this shit because you are all me. You get that? You are me. This is me revering my masculine. That's why masculine's showing up. My son was going to be in here tonight and he was like, can I just go to Sprouts? Because it's my money and my car, so yeah. So,
I have a question.
Yes.
I feel that that's kind of where I'm stuck in my relationship. I could feel a lot of hurt in my husband's heart, and I cry and I let it out. Just like 2 days ago, I cried in his arms, but I could still feel it. And I told him, I know you're still hurt from what I did, and he just
okay,
yes.
that's you telling him how to feel. So that's toxic feminine.
I don't know.
So we forget how powerful we are, but our most powerful self is that witnessing. So if you just tell him, I feel so safe with you.
That makes sense.
My
Because I
deepest
could feel like
desire-
wanting to cry, and then I said that, and he didn't.
And so then you say, and my deepest desire is if you really felt safe with me too. And then just fall into him because that's you saying, I'm gonna receive it. Give it all. Let it be a fucking tsunami. And do not waver, because women, when they slip into that deep feminine, they get scared. He's not doing anything. Oh my God. Has it been 2 minutes? He hasn't said anything. He's not touching me. Oh shit. Are you okay? You fucking blew it. You already blew it. You're not holding space. That's your damaged and traumatized feminine, scared to go deep. And he can only go deep if you go deep. The masculine can only go deep if you allow your feminine to go deep. This is even in same-sex relationships, because we carry that energy. You have to wait for it. That's the hardest part.
It is.
It's fucking hard to wait for it. But I'm telling you, it is a vacuum. When you sink back and say, I'm gonna do this. Did it make you uncomfortable when I got still and made eye contact with you?
No, I'm thinking in my head. No, I don't think so.
Would it have been different than if I do it as a male? So now I'm gonna go completely in my masculine energy, okay? And make eye contact with you instead of my feminine. Did it feel different?
It did. But
Huh?
It did. But I don't think
It's-
it's a bad thing.
No, because I was still in divine masculine. But the masculine seeks, what can I do? It's very different energy. Woo! Sorry, it's pausing. So the feminine, what I said is, the divine masculine seeks to what he can do. The divine feminine seeks, what can I hold? What do you have? That's what she's saying, show me. That's what she's saying, show me. And it's such reverence and gratitude when you get in the heart and say, show me. Because it's the curious nature of the child that's feminine. The masculine's not. The masculine's like, what can I do? Right? So did it feel different to you?
It did.
Was it uncomfortable?
Somewhat, yes.
Okay.
I felt like my foundation was like shown. Like, I guess like that the feminine energy that I was holding could hold your divine masculinity in that moment.
And so that's a very good observation to say that your divine feminine couldn't hold that divine masculine. So ask yourself here, where do I not let him hold space for me? Do I trust my male? Is my, because he's not in control, and control is about feeling safe. Does your masculine energy take control and say, look, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take you to dinner and I'm making all the plans and I'm doing this, right? Which is seemingly beautiful, right? What's so bad about that? But it's him saying, if I know the outcome, I'll feel safer. How did you feel? Did it feel different?
Yeah, pretty good. I don't know, it's kind of weird think about all this and how people don't know about it. Because it happens every day, everywhere.
And I hope this makes at least y'all, more aware of when you witness it, like, whoa. And so when someone slips into that toxic male, do you then say, no, you say, wow, that's a trauma response. What can I do to take them out of that trauma response? Let me get back in my heart, because he feels threatened right now, obviously, or she feels threatened right now, obviously. That's why people do it. That's all it is. It's a trauma response. Nobody wants to be an asshole. I mean, come on, really? Really? People are innately good. They're just damaged as fuck. And damaged people damage people. Hurt people hurt people. But it's got to stop somewhere. And this is the dialogue between Venus and Mars. Like, okay, I know you're a warrior, but there's better ways to do this. How did you feel?
I felt like getting small. Like I felt like almost like my male coming up, but probably my toxic male. 'Cause it
You
felt
wanted to
like-
defend yourself.
Yeah.
You wanted to protect your female, which in an aspect is kind of good because you're like, what does she want? But that's also a trauma response. So if you go back to the beginning of the conversation when you said women were mean to me, they hated me and I didn't know why. So here I am, a woman in my masculine, even though it's divine masculine, you're like, what does she want? What does she want from me? Why is she looking at me like that? Even though you know me.
That was very like touching for me to feel that. Cause like you're saying, I know you, so it's like, why do I feel like this? Why does it feel like almost threatening? Like you know, and I wanted to come up and my masculine. So yeah.
I mean, a perfect example, I don't know if Kyle's on here. He usually jumps on my lives. Kyle, are you here? Oh, my baby girl gave me a red heart. Hearts to you too, baby. I know she left already because she don't do the meditation. She's like, I'm going to support my mom. She's on a live. I'll give her a heart. Okay, no. Anyhow, Kyle very much knows how to switch back and forth, and it really unnerves people. And he really is so aware of that energy that almost to the extreme. Like, it's like amplified. So it is intense. And I'm like, just soften around the edges a little bit. But I don't think he's on, because he would validate that for me. No, because Kyle loves to have conversation. Miss you, Kyle. If you watch this,
When I first met him, I could feel that. It's kind of like,
that push-pull.
yeah. Like
And that's the polarity, right? So it feels almost like sexual. And that's why it would unnerve so many women, because he understands the polarity in the dance and the play, even though he's not trying to overpower anyone or manipulate anyone. He really, really is coming from a place of trauma himself to soften the people he's talking to, like, oh, they're uncomfortable, let me do this. And then they're like, he's trying to manipulate me. No, this is not okay, this is unsafe. Just like you said, I right away felt unsafe because that's the polarity. And we create polarity in intimacy to keep passion alive. Passion only dies in relationships that have no polarity. So you can keep passion until you fucking die if you understand this. You hear that, y'all? You will be busy till you're done breathing if you figure this out. So, I didn't get no hearts on that, y'all. Come on. They'll be giving me hearts every other minute. Hi, Karan. Thank you. Thank you for joining. I love seeing masculine energy on here. And I don't know if Douglas is still on here, but I would love feedback if either of you have anything to say about this. But if not, we're gonna get into meditation now because I talked for a really long time. So we're probably gonna go way over. Do you guys have to be anywhere? Do you have to be somewhere?
I know I'm joining my friends at 8:30.
Well, they have an 8:30 class here.
Okay.
So I have to be done by like quarter after at least. Is quarter after okay for you? I'm gonna be quarter after 8. Is that too late for you, or do you gotta go? Because it's 10 of right now, but I want to keep you guys in meditation for at least 20 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you. Good? All right, lay down. So you can sit up or lay down, but for this meditation really is better if you're laying down flat. So rule of thumb, remember the inhale is longer and slower. The exhale is longer and slower than the inhale. And the inhale starts very low belly. So exhale longer and slower than the inhale. I'm going to repeat that because I messed up. So I'm going to turn this towards the fireplace. So let's join our breath together to unify our energy here and all of y'all at home. Nice deep inhale together through the waist, the stomach, the upper back, the chest, and release with a beautiful sigh. So as I mention a body part, allow your awareness to go to that space and your breath to go to that space and fully let go of all muscle control of that body part. So feel the full weight of your feet, toes to the heels, the arches and the tops. Soften the feet, anchoring the body by the feet, moving over the ankles, the shins and calves, and feeling that gentle tug at the knees as the entire lower legs become completely relaxed. Moving into the thighs, from the knees to the hips, completely soften the thighs, really breathing past the urge to brace yourself. We tend to store so much emotion in our thighs. So really soften the thighs. And when you really let go of the thighs, the glutes will soften and the hips gently roll open, allowing the breath and awareness to then pour into the pelvis, into the left hip, into the right hip, around the tailbone, waist. And so when you completely relax and expand into that lower abdomen, you'll feel the breath becoming deeper and fuller. Moving into the stomach and the middle back, softening all around that lower edge of the rib cage. Breathing into any of that nervous energy, that tight, tense energy in the solar plexus. Just at the base of the sternum, and just soften. If you need to let out another audible sigh to power that breath through the body, that's perfectly okay. Let your intuition guide you on that. Every breath is harnessing the sacred power of wind in your very own body. That is the power of you. Let that move through you and purify your body of tightness, tension, toxins, and trauma. Moving into the chest, breathing into that breastbone, all the way up the front of the chest to the base of the neck. All the way up the spine to the base of the neck. up the left side of the rib cage into the shoulder. Up the right side of the rib cage into the shoulder. And when you release that upper back, it completely softens and the shoulders release, falling away from the ears and finding their way to the floor, and the heart expands. The breath begins to feel effortless, deep, full, effortless breaths. And the weight of the body begins to just melt away, softening the throat. Feel every breath coming in to the body and out of the body. Around the ears and the jaw, the chin, and around the mouth, softening the tongue. The cheekbones and around the nose. The temples and around the eyes. Between the brows, breathing into that space between the brows, allowing the breath to swirl in that space clockwise to the left, to the bridge of the nose, up the right, the forehead, softening the forehead, the top of the head and the back of the scalp, now feeling the full weight of the head, anchoring the body, feeling that gentle pull between the top of the head and the tip of the toes. Now moving down the shoulders into the triceps and biceps. The elbows. The forearms. The wrists. The backs of the hands and the palms. And into every fingertip. And what I want you to do now, before I move on, is do a complete scan of the body and see if there's any little space in the body, any curve, any corner, any crack, where you are still holding tension, tightness, where the breath wants to bypass, or the awareness wants to avoid, and really let your awareness and breath go to that space and completely soften. right in the base of that pubis bone. And you're gonna pretend you have a nose right there, and every inhale pulls that breath into a triangle that goes right up into both hips. And imagine that there draws a line right there in the waist. So this downward pointing triangle in the lower pelvis. Every inhale pulls that breath from the pelvic floor into the hips as all of that sacral space expands with the breath into the low back and the root chakra. And every exhale is just a release of anything that's been cleared with that breath. Every inhale from the pelvic floor into that beautiful V, that pyramid that's pointing downward. This is the feminine energy of the chalice. Our deep intuition and knowledge of true self. This is our creative energy, our sensual life force. But this is where we find our deepest peace, calming the adrenal glands, the kidneys, your reproductive organs. And now, move that nose up to the base of the sternum. And this breath, when you pull this breath in, it's going to make a downward flow, but an upward pointing triangle. So this breath will fan out back to the hips, but from the solar plexus. So from the base of the sternum, breathing in, fanning out to the hips. And again, imagine that line drawn so it creates that upward pointing triangle of energy. This upward pyramid inside your body, because you want it to be three-dimensional, touching the spine because it's filling your human. This is the energy of the sword, the blade, the masculine energy of fire and air. This power. And every exhale again liberates you, frees you of any congestion that is living in this space. And now I want you to breathe, but extend all the way down like a diamond back into that pelvic floor to bring these two triangles into the shape of a diamond. So every inhale shoots down into the hips and then down into the pelvic floor, creating this diamond. Marrying these energies, alchemizing this energy. We can be cohesive and work together. You are powerful too. You are creative too. We can be all things for ourselves. The provider, the nurturer, that creative force that entices and excites and is awe-inspiring. And And then the power and the will and the courage to do it all. Now allow that diamond to stretch up into the heart. So the top point is directly center of chest. And again goes down into the hips, and the bottom point again in the pelvic floor. So it stretches that diamond and allows that heart energy to pour into the diamond. And just feel all of those parts of yourself that need forgiveness. All of those parts of you that you need to release shame around. All of those parts of you that need witnessing. All of those parts of you that need compassion and love. And now stretching the diamond up into the throat. And feel those center points now moving up from the hip into the solar plexus. So into those vital organs that are right at the base of the rib cage. Feel how it frames the gut, that fire energy. And so this diamond from the throat to the base of each side of the rib cage and then down into the pelvic floor. How can I communicate who I am? Who I really am? Who am I? This creative, powerful self that is worthy of love and witnessing, that is worthy of support. How do I say who I am? How do I express this? How do I create boundaries? All of this becomes so clear in the diamond, this divine diamond. And now stretching upward into the ajna, the brow chakra. This is where the intellect is housed, and if you have any monkey mind going on in that space, that's toxic male energy. So now we're going to let our lower divine selves teach him, this is who I am. You need to be quiet and listen so that the divine wisdom that is my birthright can pour through this intellect instead of the judgment, instead of the trauma response, instead of the ego. I know better who I am because I feel it. Because I feel it. And now stretching that diamond up into the crown. Connecting you with your higher self and allowing all of that divine wisdom that is your birthright begin to pour into this diamond, blessing every single space inside. And feel the diamond now starting to turn. It's spinning. And you can feel it almost drilling into your pelvic floor and into the crown, and then it expands. You are now inside of this spinning diamond. The marriage of divine masculine and feminine energy completely encased in it, and it is healing your auric field so that your sensory aura, your spidey sense, will be aware of the polarity and how to move and respond and react and how to stay heart-centered instead of that hair trigger reaction of becoming toxic or becoming small and editing who you are, but recognizing everyone is you, so there's nowhere or need to hide. You can actually leave this diamond intact for the night as a shield. Start bringing your awareness back into this space. For those of you at home, you can stay like that for as long as you wish in your own space. Even fall asleep like that if you wish. For those who are here, you can start to reanimate the body and connect the senses. What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you feel? And you can reanimate the body, wiggling your fingers and toes, walking around with some palo santo. Trusting me. You are so welcome, Stephanie. I love you. You can rock your head side to side. Put your palms on your body. Rock your hips. Bring your knees to your chest. And just feel your body. Feel the balance. It feels different. It really does. And thank you for choosing you, for allowing me to hold space for you and guide you back to you. It is a complete honor.